Plato ponders, isn't it quite necessary for us to agree that the very same forms and dispositions as are in the city are in each of us? Being an ancient philosopher, Plato had an idea about how a perfect society should be organized. He believed that this ideal society should have three main groups of people: philosophers, aka the teachers, guardians, aka the protectors, and laborers, aka the workers. Philosophers are the wise and knowledgeable individuals who should lead society. They're freed from the responsibilities of protecting the state and producing goods because they're focused on understanding deep ideas and truths. The guardian's primary job is to protect society. They don't need to worry about making things or money. Their duty is to keep everyone safe. Laborers are responsible for producing goods and resources. Unlike the philosophers and guardians, they don't make decisions about the direction of society. They focus on providing for everyone's needs. Of course, in reality, this is simply allegorical, as humans are too nuanced and individual to be placed perfectly into one of these three societal groups, nor does anyone have a right to categorize another human being in this way. Indeed, Plato also believed that these three groups corresponded to different aspects of a person's soul. Philosophers represent wisdom in a person, guardians represent their bravery, and laborers their self-restraint. So, just as these qualities come together to form Plato's version of an ideal society, they also form an ideal person. This idea may seem philosophical, but it has practical implications for our real lives. Plato suggested that these virtues can be seen as stages of personal growth. The first, self-restraint and satisfaction. At first, we focus on meeting our basic needs and striving for well-being. Second, limiting material pursuits. We eventually realize that chasing after material wealth endlessly can be harmful, and we start seeking fulfillment beyond material possessions. Third, taking care of others. As we mature, we begin to care for others, like pets, children, or aging parents. This stage teaches us love and care, but often remains task-orientated rather than understanding a higher purpose. And fourth and finally, real wisdom and love. The final stage involves achieving true wisdom and love, where we see the world not as a place to possess things, but as a space filled with subjects to love and cherish. Plato believed that this process of personal development is innate in our nature and aligns with our experiences. It's about learning to see the world in a deeper and more meaningful way. In practical terms, this means that our main goal in life is to allow our inner potential to unfold and develop fully, just as an ideal society should operate at its best. This development involves moving from pursuing material wealth to caring for others and ultimately reaching a state of wisdom and love where we see the world in a profoundly different and more loving way.